And eventually, I gathered my wits and selected those 7 chapters that I would return to. I went home to my residence hall room and cried for hours. I was so humiliated that I never even told my mom what had happened. So the next day, I had my schedule of events to go to, and I remember that I was so traumatized still that I went to the wrong chapters at the wrong time, and my recruitment didn't get much better. I was heavily released at all rounds, and I ended up with only 1 chapter for preference, where other women had 3 chapters. So I really had to make a decision about whether I wanted to continue with recruitment. The experience did not meet my expectations at all. And I did some soul searching and decided to accept the invitation to that preference party. I attended that preference party. It was a wonderful, delightful event. I decided to go ahead and, ironically, single intentional preference, which we had told, not to do. I did, and the next day, in fact, I became a member of that organization. So a lot of our women don't make the choice to go on. They make the choice to withdraw from recruitment when we don't meet their expectations. And it took me about nearly 20 years to be able to talk about that humiliating experience. And once I did, in the form of the book, I started getting letters back from women who are in sororities now, who say, this was my experience too, and we need to help these women before they go through the experience. And that's why I'm here today talking to you about the subject, because every recruitment story is unique, and everyone could have used help before they went through it. That means everyone coming up needs help too. All right. Sorry if that's long-winded. That's the story. Okay, Mary Kate, how about you?
Well, I too was a definite joiner when I went to Eastern Illinois University, and when I arrived, there was 8 Panhellenic groups when I went through recruitment, and in addition to being a definite joiner, I definitely thought I was ready, but once I was actually thrown into the process, I realized I was overwhelmed. I felt at a lot of the chapters, conversations lulled and focused on the superficial, like relationships with fraternities, nothing of real value. And I really grew nervous that I hadn't shined in the experience, and that I would receive that dreaded call from my ROCI or recruitment counselor of the old days. And some of these fears were realized when I arrived on the second day, and I was only invited back to 4 chapters. Now, looking back, I realize that's not a crisis situation, but as a young person new to the experience, it definitely made me wonder why there were 4 groups of women who had not invited me back. Now, knowing about release figures and all the magic behind the scenes of recruitment, I completely understand that the process was actually moving along correctly, and the 4 chapters I returned to is where I had actually had good conversations, connected with the members, but throughout the whole process, the pressure of the popularity still weighed on me. And after my experience, I knew the process had worked out well for me, and I'm definitely glad I went through formal recruitment. So I got to see the positive aspects and some of the frustrations. And then when I became a Panhellenic officer and later a Panhellenic advisor, I continued to see both sides of this process, and that's why I became passionate about improving the experience for others and committed to this idea of pre-recruitment education, because I feel there's a lot of potential new members and parents out there. We forget about the parents a lot, who are like me. They were hungry for information, and even before they step foot on our campuses, they're going on the internet, they're crawling the web for resources, and then they come home with resources like pledged. Now, is this the information that we want them to receive?
No.